Thanks so much for spending time with us this week. We hope you're feeling more connected to the cosmic energies in your life and what works for you. We send you lots of love on your journey. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps. Welcome to Rainbow Soulstrology, a weekly podcast presented by Brighthawk and Hollis Taylor. Together, we lay out the weekly astrology in an accessible, inclusive, candid, and insightful way, and what it means for you. Hollis is amazing. They're a seasoned astrologer and psychic medium. I'm a musician, artist, and storyteller. We love to make the cosmos relatable, which is why we begin by tuning in with a guided meditation, helping all of us ground and center and feel the planetary energies of the week more deeply. Then we dive into this week's astrological forecast, answer your questions, and then look at the horoscopes for all the signs for the week. Whether you're brand new to astrology or you've been following the stars for years, welcome to the conversation. Welcome to Rainbow Soulstrology. Let's get centered, take a breath, and explore what the universe has in store for us.
We are behind that. Welcome, everyone.
My mic is muted, but yours is not. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad you're here. It's good to have you with us. We are doing our best over here. It's definitely been a little bit of a stressful day for us, and over the weekend. I'm not surprised because I'm having transits that could cause some discomfort for me, and I knew that. So I'm just trying to respond to the astrology appropriately. So I tried to squeeze in 2 doctor's appointments today and didn't quite go well. So if something happened during the new moon, I just want to give you a heads up for those of you that might have some transits like me, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Sorry. I'm Hollis. I'm one of the astrologers here today. And
Hi there, I'm Brighthawk.
we'll have to unmute you.
I got it.
I've changed microphones and cameras, so do let me know.
It sounds so much better.
You can hear me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. That was my main question was before we start the meditation, can I get a confirmation that you can hear me?
So I want to just invite you to settle into your seat. Get yourself comfortable. Hopefully you've been able to... Can everybody hear me okay? I can hear me. So just take this minute to take a few deep breaths. And just let whatever is going down for you, just leave it behind. Just put it over there in the corner of the room. And just allow it to sit. You can come and get it when we're done. start to notice Venus, the planet of love, of blessings. The planet that helps bring people that love you and the people you love to you. The planet that expresses our love. And the planet that is our love language. And as Venus slowly goes around you and seems to energetically hold you in love and in presence, you recognize the blessings she brings. The blessings that Venus brings to you. And feeling Venus around you, holding you. In perfect love and perfect trust. And as we come to a closing on this meditation, I invite you to put your hand on your heart and give yourself some love. Self-love. And as we come back into ourselves, back into the here and now, feeling our presence right here and right now. I invite you to wiggle your toes and open your eyes and join us for Rainbow Soulstrology forecast. In the here and now. Well, thank you, Bright Hawk.
Pleasure.
So everyone, I just wanted to say that it's definitely been a little bit of an intense ride for me, mostly because I have a lot of placements that are being transited right now, and the things that are being transited are in squares, and I'm very aware of it. I seen it coming. About 3 or 4 weeks ago. I just wasn't sure what it was going to be because Uranus is at play here. Um, and Uranus is in my 8th house, and I'm aware of that. And along with Saturn and Neptune going retrograde in my house of health, along with the eclipse and this new moon happening directly on my sun, which rules my heart. And I'm grateful to have Venus in Leo at this time, where my Venus is, because all of those things point to my heart, and the heart things that many of you know that I live with. So, as a medical intuitive, I am a medical intuitive for myself for sure. And I count on Bright Hawk, and I count on both of us to be as intuitive as possible. Plus, we look at the astrology. And as you know, today's world, you have to advocate for yourself with doctors and such. And I had to go and have really important discussions with my doctors because I almost fainted on Thursday, or felt like I was going to faint in a pretty intense way while I was sitting still. And I don't know at this time if it's my heart or my blood sugar. Okay, but we're going to find out. So we're going to wait and see if it happens again. It's also cycling with the hormones. And that's why I had to have 2 doctor's appointments today. One with the hormone doctor, one with the heart doctor. Let me just say, don't you wish you could just take these doctors and put them all in one room and we could all just sit around and talk this out? Like, wouldn't it go so much smoother? And I feel bad for anyone that is navigating the healthcare system without knowing anything about health and anatomy and the body and stuff like that, because everything I do, the doctors don't pick up on it. So, like, I had to tell the cardiologist today about a diagnosis that I had over a year ago, and she didn't even know. And I had to tell her that so that she could recognize that my heart rate dipping like that was not, maybe could be a problem. So let me just say, she was ready to let me walk out of there without giving me the heart monitor. And then the more I pushed and the ruder I got, the better the answer I got. And now I have had to buy my own glucose monitor to see if it's my blood sugar, and pretty much insisted on doing some sort of test on the heart so we can rule out a heart problem, a heart issue. So, but I diagnosed me. Do you understand, you guys? So I feel bad for any of you navigating the healthcare system without knowledge. I'm just going to say, if you're confident enough to do some research, and you feel like if you're navigating if you're navigating any kind of health thing right now, I would just say do your research, because you have to know what you're talking about. You have to advocate for yourself in a really big way, particularly in the United States. Tony's saying in Australia it's a little bit better. I can get the info, Tony, but I have to point out to them what it is, if that makes sense. Like, the doctors are so overwhelmed. They don't have time to review your chart, and I don't even know where this information goes. I don't know why it wasn't in the diagnoses correctly, but it wasn't. And she had to go back and look at the notes to find it. but she found it. And then I was like, see, I told you. And then she was like, oh. And then she become very concerned very quickly. And she very quickly seen what I was trying to point out. So I'm just saying that the healthcare system is hard. If you're navigating anything difficult right now or anything, be aware that you might not know. I think I mentioned this last week. You might think it's this, but it's actually this. So be careful. That's why the astrology is why I dug deeper, because I would have gone on and assumed it was my blood sugar due to the hormone fluctuations. I don't have diabetes or anything. But I would have gone and just assumed that's what it was because I was fasting at the time. But what I'm going to say is that I wouldn't have pressed further if I hadn't known that about the astrology. If I hadn't known that, I wouldn't have pushed further. Same thing happened with my son when he was in a coma last year. If I didn't know the astrology, I would have thought that there was a larger chance of him being paralyzed, but I was pretty sure he wasn't. And I trusted the stars and I pushed for the doctors to take him out. And this time I pushed for the doctor to look a little bit deeper because I knew my own medical astrology. So if you are struggling with anything and you're trying to find the answer to it and you think it's this, just be aware it could be that. Okay? You could be under an illusion right now because of Neptune's movement. So it's just kind of crazy. I know a lot of you can relate. That's why I'm talking about this. I'm not talking about it because I'm talking about it because I know some of you out there are struggling with some of the same type of stuff. Alyssa said it's a really scary thing to go through. And you're so right about the doctors, the healthcare system, the advocating, the gaslighting that happens, all of it, especially if you're dealing with perimenopause, Alyssa. Oh my goodness. And if you start talking about hormones, some doctors actually, I'm so glad I dealt with nothing but women today. I dealt with all women doctors today, which is kind of good actually, because they're aware of the problem with not studying women's bodies. And even though I don't identify as a woman, the body I live in cycles with the hormones, and they I don't give a crap what you see as my identity at this point. I'm 50 years old. I don't really give a crap if you see my identity or not. If you see it, then you might be a friend. If you don't, we're probably not. And so that's kind of how I feel about it. But in that, I'm not gonna. I just don't have the energy to argue the gender thing. In fact, for me, it's like just the fact is my body cycles every month, and we have to be aware of those hormone fluctuations. We have to account for them, and that's something that our healthcare system in the United States, and I'm pretty sure in Australia too, Tawny, they don't know that very good. It's not just the history, Tawny. She should have been able to see that I had this diagnosis from she was just a fill-in cardiologist. She should have been able to see it. She said she works in the healthcare system, and honestly, you can get 20 different diagnoses depending on what doctor you have. But it's good to know your stuff and be strong and firm in what you believe. That's right. That's what I'm saying. And do your research, you guys. Do your research. And if you want me to look at your stars and try to help you navigate that and try to look at your astrology, I do intuitive health readings, astrology, and I use the astrology for that. And that's it was necessary. It was totally necessary that I pushed today. And I'm glad that I did, even though it was uncomfortable and I was kind of in a bitchy mood. I'll be honest, you guys, I was kind of pissy and like annoyed that I'm dealing with this. And so I just kind of, I kind of pushed it a little. And Alyssa said I pretty much stopped pushing for my heart to check. I was so over the BS. I totally get it until I see my astrology and paired with my increasing symptoms. Now I'm fighting like hell to keep pushing for an answer that I feel so deeply is there. Docs just refuse and refuse to loom. Alyssa, try to do your own research. Try to point them in exact the direction that it needs to be. Look up your symptoms and everything. Like I just read and read and read. And I make sure all of my stuff is valid websites. No weird websites. That's right, Tani. I agree. You know your own body and feelings, so don't let any doctor tell you different than is for everyone. Agreed. Okay. So sorry about delaying it today. The reason is because I had 2 doctor's appointments. Okay. And the cardiologist took an extra long time because I drilled her. So okay. So this week, it's not horrible, but I'm gonna say we're heading into eclipse season. Okay. Let me see something, Bright Hawk, if I can. There we go. Can you guys hear me? You guys can still hear. Makes me think, like, is there a way to make the charts up and down? Anyway, we're still dealing with this sideways chart right now, and maybe I'll try to fix it in the coming week if I can find the time to do that. What I will say is that we're starting out with a lot of trines and such. I will point out that there is a yod pointing to the Virgo sun. And the Virgo sun, the sun just entered Virgo with the moon just the other day. And I think it was a couple days ago. And they were traveling together at the new moon. So when that was like Saturday. They were traveling together. And now, and at that time, they were in a yod involving Pluto, which is in Aquarius, which has a lot to do with transformation, change, power, control, and death. And it was also communicating with Saturn and Neptune. And they're both in Aries. So you can see that at the bottom part of the chart. Their kind of Aries is kind of red, and you can see everything's retrograde, of course, except for the sun. The sun doesn't go retrograde. And so, all the other planets though are retrograde, and that yod will sort of fall apart in the coming day or so, in the next couple of days, because it's going to move far enough away. But I'm just pointing that out, that today is like very faded. And for me, that's very important because my sun is in Virgo, and the sun rules the heart. In case you didn't know what body part the sun rules, and the sun rules Leo. And so also today, Venus moves into Leo. Now, Venus is about self-love. Venus is about love and relationships. It's about being together. It's about coming together. And I think with Venus and Leo, we have to think about the love language of being seen in all those ways. And that's kind of what we were just talking about, right? Like when you go to the doctor, you need to be seen and heard and validated, right? And I think, I think that that's a little bit of what we're experiencing today, right? Like we're experiencing the Venus in Leo is pretty, intense, in that it's asking for us to not only give love for ourselves, but to also be aware of the way we're loving others, right? So I'm just gonna throw us up there real quick, right up. So I think we could talk about Venus and Leo. It happens today. It's happening right now. And it's actually probably been there most of the day. And the thing is that Venus in Leo is is a pretty, it's a pretty important thing because it's a blessing, right? And Leo rules the sun. It also rules integrity. It rules Leo tends to be integrous. It can sometimes be loud. It can sometimes be very intense. Leo can sometimes be kind of on the, think about the lion, right? The lion of the pride. And that Leo energy can sometimes really it can really intensify things. And I think with the, with the yod pointing to that Virgo sun and that Venus today, Bright Hawk, I think that those are great. It's actually kind of a good blessing because the sun is speaking to that Venus because the sun rules Leo. So I feel like the sun and Leo and the Venus are kind of in a conversation, if you will. And I feel like, if you're dealing with relationship things, money things, health things, any of those kinds of things, you want to pay attention. Take it slow. Go slow, think it through, get a clear mind, stay in integrity, try not to lose your shit. Bright Hawk, I'm sure with the Leo moon, I'm sure there's
Thing
something you could say
about
about
Leo.
Leo.
A Libra moon. So when the moon is in Libra, Libra is ruled by Venus. So we've been talking a lot about Venus, and this is how astrology often works. Multiple things point at that Venus. So we've been talking about Venus in Leo. Now we're talking about the moon. The moon is in Libra. It's going to conjunct Mars. Libra is all about the scales of balance and justice. It's about fairness. It's about the perception of fairness, right? It's got to not just look like it's fair, it's got to feel fair, right? So, and with the moon, it'll be conjuncting Mars later tonight. That speaks to action. Is there action that needs to be taken in regards to justice, fairness, relationships? The nice thing is that it's also in a grand trine. And so the moon is in a trine to Uranus and Pluto. I noticed on the other page, Samantha said that they had lost a friend recently. Unfortunately, an amazing friend of mine passed the other day. It's been a tough weekend. Samantha, I'm really sorry to hear that. And it's not terribly surprising because when we have Pluto in the kind of configuration that it's in, it doesn't always have to mean death. It can definitely mean an ending. A transformation is an ending and a beginning. Sometimes it means death. And I'm sorry for your loss. When we look at eclipses and we know that the lunar eclipse is coming up first, that'll involve the south node in Virgo, and the lunar eclipse will be a full moon in Virgo. So it's that one of those, it's not terribly common where you have both the new moon in Virgo, which we just had this last weekend at 0 degrees, and we will have the eclipse and the full moon at the last day of Libra, last day of September in Virgo. So that doesn't happen all the time. That's the same sign for the sun and the moon. That doesn't happen very often at all, but this case it will. And so there's a lot of energy around the eclipses coming, the sort of what's it going to mean? It usually means a surprise. Think about the word eclipse. It generally means things we haven't seen or weren't willing to see, we suddenly see. Lunar eclipses, since they're about the south node, have to do more with the releasing and the letting go. The solar eclipse, because it has to do with the north node, has more to do with our destiny, our future, our wishes, our dreams, our desires. So it's one of the reasons why eclipses are not considered times to do ceremony or intention setting, or sometimes people charge their crystals during a full moon. Eclipses are not the time to do that. And the reason that I've heard most frequently is because of the unpredictability of this energy. You just don't know what it's going to bring. So doing magic in those realms is considered like, you might not want to do that because you just don't know how it's going to roll. So it's coming. It's a coming. And today is sort of the busiest day of the week of the sky. After putting the astrology report together, I had to like condense the font for Monday, and as the week goes on I can make the font bigger because there's less stuff on the page. So
All right, look, ready, you guys? Oops.
Go ahead.
You guys can see.
So you guys can see how her text is so much bigger there on the right. And I just think, a lot of that new moon that we experienced this past weekend, whatever came up, or even today, whatever's coming up for you, I just want you to pay attention, because it's probably going to feed into, the it will probably feed into the eclipses, especially since the new moon was in Virgo, right? And Virgo and Pisces are very opposite each other. So that's kind of like, that's, if the sun is opposite something, it could create difficulty. So if you have Virgo placements, and the eclipse is, opposite, you could have some issues. If it's conjunct, it doesn't necessarily, conjunct means it's on top of, or, traveling with it. If it's conjunct, it doesn't always mean that it's difficult. It could mean that it's just a mix of those energies. So I feel like with the Venus in Leo, which speaks to, and we've just had a huge Mercury retrograde. I feel for people with Leo placements, I have a Leo placement. So the Mercury retrograde wasn't easy for all the Leos out there. And then the Venus in there, I feel like, putting us back into blessings. And hopefully, so if you have a lot of Leo placements, you should know that. Regina says she's moving this weekend. Okay, well, we'll take a look. Regina, I don't know what your chart is, but I'm just going to say your personal chart can totally change the experience. Okay. Alyssa's like, I'm too late on losing my shit. Nah, just kidding. Pretty close though. You know what? Me too, Alyssa. I've had a pretty. I kind of lost my crap, my shit on that cardiologist, but thank goodness I did. Right? Okay. So sometimes I think you have to lose your shit on stuff. And I wasn't rude to her. I was just very sort of demanding and pressing for, and just trying to get a answer to a question, which is, why do I keep having these dizzy spells? So, hi Regina. And we'll take a look at the chart as we go on for the rest of the week, okay? But as you can see, there's a lot building up right now. So you have some things building up. So what's happening in your life right now? What's going on? Whatever it is, you're going to be dealing with it during the eclipse, okay? So Regina, that makes me think, like, what are you dealing with in this move? Like, are you dealing with, getting things turned on and off, or or maybe it has something to do with the way you're packing, or maybe there's some other challenges that are coming along with that moving. Maybe everything's going really smoothly. Whatever is going on right now, you'll probably continue that trend or could intensify during the eclipse, which would be September 7th and September 21st. Okay, I think I might have said September 14th a while ago, but I meant September 21st. I'm sorry about that. Okay, because the solar eclipse is the 21st and the actual lunar eclipse is September 7th. And sometimes during the lunar eclipse, you get an aha moment, but I think we would have already gotten an aha moment on the new moon, or a question to be asked, like sort of like me having several hypotheses about why I was having these little dizzy spells, right? So having that hypothesis, and maybe I'll get the answer September 7th. I don't know. Okay. So or maybe I'll maybe resolve it by the 21st, right? That could totally happen. Could totally happen. Okay. So just stay open, stay aware. Okay. Especially pay attention to right now. And as we go on for the rest of the week, sorry, Brett Hawk, I was trying to open up my my version. I thought it was interesting that the Yod, then Braithawk, turns around to Pisces on Tuesday. It's like first it was pointing at the sun, and then it whips around and points at the North Node in Pisces, pulling from that Mercury in Leo and the Moon and Mars in Libra. So I just felt like, there's another yacht in the sky, plus there's a basket in the sky. I feel like the things that are happening now are very fated. They're very much meant to happen, hopefully to help us get on our right path, help us get on the path of what is to be manifested, particularly with Uranus going direct. It's almost like Uranus is moving the furniture around to make the house more flow or something. And that's what it feels like to me, because Uranus is part of the story, and Uranus is definitely part of the story here. It's one of the only bigger planets that's going direct. It will eventually go retrograde, but currently it is direct, and it tends to put you on your path. It tends to bring surprises in. And it is in a sextile, which is a good conversation to that Venus in Leo. And so if you're experiencing something today about maybe taking care of yourself, maybe love or relationships or money, then it's good that you're getting on your path and trying to take care of that. Okay. And with Venus in a trine to Neptune and Saturn, I feel like if you look for it, you'll get the right answer. Okay, because Neptune can sometimes hide things. Okay, but Neptune and Saturn are moving away from each other, which is good, because then it will reveal things, but we haven't completely got the reveal quite yet. Okay, Brighthawk, do you have anything you want to say about Tuesday?
Sure. I just want to point out that I agree with everything you said, and you're not too late setting up your intentions for the new moon in Virgo. So think about what Virgo represents. Virgo often represents health and well-being. It's a very nourishing sign. Tons of nurses are Virgos. Very good at taking care of the community, the collective. So your intentions for this time, very easy to have intentions for the collective. May we all be healthy. May we all be well in body, heart, mind, and spirit. Setting your intentions with this Virgo energy. Like Hollis said, we flipped the yod from the sun to the moon pointing at the North Node. And of course, the nodes are highly active this month with the eclipses coming up. Especially if you're a Pisces or a Virgo, because is in Virgo and the North Node is in Pisces. So anybody that has 18 degrees in any of those signs are going to feel this Yod, big time, and it's very destined. So yeah, this basket, everything that happens Monday, Tuesday, it starts to unwind a little bit as the week goes on. Um, the void of course moons that are the time when the moon switches signs. Today there was a void of course moon that lasted a whopping 10 minutes on either side of 2 o'clock. So really short one. Of course, last week we had one that was so long it went all of Friday. And I was pretty productive actually. I did a lot of painting. Um, but whatever the case is for you, the void is when the moon is in between. The in between is when the moon is going to have a least amount of emotional energy. So you can use that to your advantage. A lot of people have been reporting back to us because we're always asking what was your experience of the void of course moon. And some folks have said, hey, you know what? I actually get more focused. I find that when it goes into a water sign, a lot of times it can feel like a wet blanket. Why can't I get anything done? So you don't always, it depends. And in this case, with the moon in Libra, it's a good aspect. And of course, we have the Yod, which is going to say, go that way. What is your future telling you? And with the Mercury on the other side of the sextile in the base of that inconjunct to the North Node, you need to talk about it. You need to communicate what your vision and your dreams are and take action because you've got Mars there. The moon's going to want to see action. So live your best life, live your best dreams, and if you have a feeling you're supposed to do something, pay attention. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So then we'll take you to the next day, which would be Wednesday. This is Wednesday's chart. So you can take a look at that chart. You can take a screenshot of it and zoom in, which is a good way to deal with this in this moment, in the here and now. And I'm just going to talk about it for a second. On Wednesday, as I shown, the moon is opposite Chiron, and then Pluto and Venus are still kind of opposite each other, but they've been opposite for a while. But because we have all these blessings, I think, with all the trines and the sextiles, all those blue lines, they kind of help. They kind of help us understand the blessings in life, and they help us maybe come to an understanding of things or reveal things more appropriately. And I feel that on Wednesday, it's it's more of kind of the same there, except that we have a T square up to um, the moon in Libra, which if you're dealing with relationships, there it is right there, especially because Venus is in Leo and it is in a conversation with Pluto. And so it's kind of in a square and there's a T square there. And that could be like, fear, power, control, power games, dominance, even fear of death or death. Um, those kinds of things. And I would say that, like some of you have expressed that some people are passing now. If people are destined to pass now, they'll probably pass. And there is also a yod pointing at the moon on Wednesday. So I feel like that mood's really intense on Wednesday. And with the cross, also, well, it's not a perfect grand cross yet, but it's close. There's two oppositions crossing each other. And so that could prove to be some difficulty, probably around emotions, probably also around whatever you've been dealing with this month. It's sort of building up, like I said, building up to the eclipse, which is September 7th. So, Bright Hawk, did you want to add anything?
Oh, just that we don't usually see grand crosses. They're not terribly common, those two oppositions. And of course, this one is not perfected. Chiron is at 26, Pluto's at 1, Venus is at 2, and the moon will cross into that. So it's not perfected, but it does point to lines of tension, uh, possibility. Remember, anytime Pluto's involved, it's all the things that are underneath, right? So, what's underground, what's covered, what's, um, yeah, underground, transformed. So, there's some intensity there. The void, of course, moon happens. The moon will be leaving Libra and going into Scorpio. So going from an air sign to a water sign. This could be one of the times when you feel like the void, of course, moon into Scorpio can feel like a wet blanket. The other reason is because the moon in Scorpio is. Oh, no, never mind. I was going to say it's in detriment, but it's actually in detriment in. Oh,
It
is
is.
it?
It's in its fall.
It's in its fall. Okay. Yeah. So when the moon is in Scorpio, it's not an easy placement. Moon in Scorpio is not, it's feel things deeply, may or may not want to communicate what you're feeling. Sometimes Scorpios can be kind of on the hide, keep secrets, keep things hidden. They're of all the signs in the zodiac, Scorpio is the secret keeper, like big time. And so when the moon moves into Scorpio, we can sort of expect. And the void will go until the 28th at 1:30 a.m. So always like to. There's a friend of ours in our community that works graveyard on occasion and likes to know about the void. Of course, moon's on graveyard shifts, so there's a void on Wednesday night. So
Well, let's talk to a couple
plan
of these
accordingly.
questions.
You're
Dear. So Melissa said she needs some insight. I was stood up last night and not getting the full story of why and what happened and why am I so hurt, but I feel a weird pull to the guy, yet I never met or talked to him. It's a mutual friend set us up. Melissa, what I want to say is because Venus is involved here, Venus did enter Leo today. So I feel like you'll get the reveal. It just might take till September 7th, actually. And so hopefully it doesn't take that long. Hopefully you get it before then. But with Venus and Leo, and I'm about to speak to another question that's very similar into what you're asking about hidden information, right? Because Alyssa is also asking, with Neptune still being retrograde, illusions are still kind of thick, especially for all the Pisceans right now. Yeah, it's a little bit, Alyssa. There's a slow reveal right now because Neptune and Saturn have been traveling together for quite some time. And what's happening is, Saturn moves faster than Neptune. They're both going retrograde, but Saturn's they were chugging along together there for a while, and now Saturn's starting to do this, right? And Saturn's going to move into Pisces before Neptune gets there and will be there for a while. I feel like once Saturn gets into Pisces, which is just 1 degree away, I think it actually happens on September the 6th, which is next week. So I feel like that's when you're going to get some hard information. It's going to come and kind of smack you in the face a little bit there. So, just be aware of that. Be aware that Saturn might brush up against you it might kind of, sometimes Saturn can be a little harsh, can be a little heavy. And in Pisces, I think it's, if you're in your Saturn returns or anything like that, it's going to come back and it's got one more thing to tell you. So it's going to come back and tell you, and that's going to be this winter starting September the 7th. Saturn will pretty much be there most of the winter and won't be leaving Pisces completely for the last time this time around for another 27 years until next year. So this winter, but I would say, Alyssa, you probably, if you're trying to get some information, you'll probably get it by September the 7th. But it's kind of like, there it is. Okay, it's kind of like that. Okay, and that's kind of exactly how I'm going, right? Like I told you, it's gonna like take 2 weeks to do this heart monitor thing, and we have to get back around to my cycle and right. So it's like a slow reveal. So just be aware of that. That's what's going to happen. That's probably what's going to happen for you too, Melissa. It's probably going to be a slow reveal. Okay. Nikki said we went for a cadaver dog search for my missing indigenous friend on Saturday. We didn't find him this time. Do you think he'll ever be found? Yeah, Nikki, I bet you somehow something happens by September 7th. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if something is revealed at least by then. It won't be. If you're going to get that information, you'll get it probably somewhere in or around between now and September 7th, maybe the 8th, somewhere around that date. It could be the 8th or the 9th, but it would be right around that date, depending on his astrology and the people looking for him. That's what I would say, Nikki, is that that will be revealed, but it probably will come into a bigger especially since you just did this on Saturday. That makes me think this is all part of the eclipse. And like I said, if you were dealing with something this weekend, it's going to be your theme for the eclipse. So, Nikki, I would say between now and September 7th, 8th, 9th, you're probably going to be dealing with that. Okay. And so now, as we move on to the next day, which is Thursday. So this is Thursday, you guys. You take a look at that chart. Maybe take a screenshot of it. Maybe take a little image of it. You can see what's going on there. And you can see clearly that things are starting to kind of fade. Some of the stuff is starting to fade out at the end of the week, maybe giving us a little bit of a breather with the moon in Scorpio. Can still kind of intensify things, but I'm glad to see it's just in a trine to Jupiter and to the North Node. So if we're feeling intensity, it has to do with that. Brighthawk, did you want to add anything to Thursday?
No, not really. You kind of covered it. The void moon ends at 1:30 a.m. on Thursday, and things start to just sort of chill out for the rest of the week. Just so you know, that Saturn, we just talked about the Saturn moving backwards in Aries at 0 degrees. It actually flips into Pisces on September 1st. I looked it up just to make sure. So that's when Neptune and Saturn will take on slightly different flavors, as one has their foot in Pisces and the other, Neptune, still has their foot in Aries.
I feel like that will be the great reveal.
That will be one of the part of the great reveal, you guys. That's gonna sort of September 1st could be a great reveal for you, Nikki, which is next Monday. There could be something revealed for you as well, Alyssa, and for Melissa, who was talking about that. And so also for Regina, for your move, I mean, you might still be dealing with some challenges, but I think you'll know about them by the time we get to September 7th. And I feel like this is a slow reveal for whatever happens with the eclipse, which in some ways can be a blessing. And we can be grateful that Venus moves into into Leo, because I feel like that brings kind of a little bit of some blessings. And I feel like since everything's in a trine, and maybe that's why, that's why I'm figuring out my own heart thing, right? Nikki, maybe that's why, you're part of this search, because you're going to get hope from me today, right? Like, who knows, right? Okay. Or maybe there's some other blessings that are happening that will sort of feed into, um, uh, so, you know, I just feel like, we do have some blessings this week. I feel like we do have some things coming our way, some things that are trying to help us. So just make sure you're listening. Take the time to listen, especially even all the way, especially in these next couple of days, and especially September 1st and leading up to it. I would just say this week, just listen, just be present, try to think things through, try to talk to people, especially with Virgo. It's good to have good communication with other people. It's good to talk things out. It's good to talk things through. I think Virgo's really good. Virgo's usually pretty good at that, usually good at trying to talk things out. It's ruled by Mercury. It will usually try to problem solve that way. It will try to, so trying to talk things out, um, process things with other people, especially people that you feel good with, that you trust. Um, uh, good luck, Nikki. I'm sure that it will be revealed under this eclipse. I am sure that whatever needs to be revealed will be. Hi, Melissa. Welcome. We're kind of closing up now, but I just wanted to say that to all of you. And I'll go through and do our horoscopes a little bit. I am not going to share the charts for the horoscopes because it takes away from it. And so I'm just going to do a little horoscope for everyone here. Let me just see. Just set myself up. Did you want to add anything else for this week?
Yeah, so while you're doing that, I just want to say be careful of your words on Friday because the moon has a square to Mercury. So you have Mercury in fiery Leo, and you have the moon in deep, intuitive Scorpio. Scorpio is one of those signs that can speak truth and just blurt something out, and everybody will be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you just said that." And they'll go, "Well, it's true." And everybody is like, "Yeah, you're right." That's Scorpio, right? So the fact that you have the moon in Scorpio squaring Mercury, mind your words. Sometimes we say things and they can't be taken back. So just going to say, be careful of your words on Friday. On Saturday, the moon moves into Sagittarius, which it loves to be in. Of course, Sagittarius is a very fun-loving sign. And it's now in a trine to Venus. So maybe if the things are difficult on Friday and you feel like you need to hold your tongue, Saturday will be a much easier time, having a trine between the moon and Venus and also the moon and Saturn Neptune. So much better configuration for having things flow your way and go pretty well. So I'm just going to say that the difference between Friday and Saturday in terms of having conversations, it's significant. And then on Sunday, we have the moon is still in Sag, but now it ends up in a square to the sun, which happens every month, of course. And that's where we end up with our second quarter moon. And it shouldn't say, oh, never mind. I think what I wrote is actually correct. So the weekend, it gets easier on Sunday compared to Friday. I would say Saturday's the easier day. The biggest play still in the sky is what's been going on all month, which is that minor grand trine involving Pluto, Uranus, and Saturn and Neptune. So that minor trines are blessings, and it definitely means that change is afoot. So that's the rest of the weekend. As that sets you up to get started on the horoscopes?
Yep, I'm ready to go. Okay. Oops.
Okay, so I'm going to do the horoscope for you guys. This is the horoscopes for Hana. I'm sure it has been nuts. Venus is in Leo, so if you have any placements there, plus we had a new moon over the weekend, and we're gearing up for the eclipses. So I'm sure you can rewind and rewatch, and I bet you'll make more sense of it. But for now, let's listen to our horoscope. So for this week's horoscope, I just also gonna just say that for Aries, this Venus into Leo action is going to very much be about children, and romance and creativity, and fun. There could be maybe some difficulties in that region, or something about power and control is coming into play, because the Venus is technically completely opposite Pluto at that time. So if there's something going on with your friends or other people that you know, or people that have power and control over you, I'm just going to say you could be experiencing something in that department. There is big change coming your way. This is headed for the eclipse is happening. The eclipse will happen in your day-to-day life, and maybe the unseens. So I just want to say, in regards to that, Aries, to pay attention this week, like I said, and to really hone in and listen to what the universe is trying to tell you. There's some big changes asking to be made today. So be listening to what that is. What changes need to be made? And with Venus in Leo, it's asking you to really take a look at what needs to change in your home, or in your life, or in your situation, particularly around children or creative outlets. And next, we're going to move on. The next is a horoscope for Taurus. This horoscope is for Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Taurus, this has everything to do with your home. So, what has happened with Venus in your home? Maybe there's something about money or relationships or something like that that's coming into play that might have a little to do with your work and how that has power and control and fear and whatnot in your home. So, Taurus, just hang in there. There's something, you are being held in a good way with the universe. There is lots of great supportive aspects to support you this week, and it's a good thing to listen and respond to any changes. Don't put them on the back burner, otherwise they're likely to come back up during the eclipse in a not so great way. I would highly recommend that you make that movement as soon as possible, Taurus. I know sometimes you're a little bit hesitant, but consider this a sign that you should make those changes now. Start moving towards trying to get answers and looking for that great reveal, because something will be revealed during that lunar eclipse for you that seems to be pretty darn important. And now is the eclipse for Gemini. This is for Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. This has everything to do with your community and the people you live around, and communicating, and siblings. This has a lot to do with siblings for you. Gemini, this is a message coming to you about siblings. And you could be having a huge awakening around siblings, Gemini. In fact, you're probably noticing some huge changes, and you might be noticing some things. So awaken to that. And it could also have to do with other things like neighbors, siblings, cousins, or something to do with your community. So, stay open. Be aware of what might be headed your way. There are some blessings being headed your way. Some great reveals are being headed your way. Spirit's trying to send you some messages so that you become aware of exactly what's going on so that you can navigate it in a good way. So, the universe is holding you in good blessings this week and trying to help you see and to be, and so that things are revealed to help you in this time. All right. Now, the next horoscope is for Cancer. This is for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Cancer, Venus is going to be transiting your second house. And as Venus comes into that second house, I just want to say, as it enters Leo, is there something about integrity or something really intense regarding money or something that has to do with who you are, Cancer, and your values and what you believe is right? And what is the difference between right and wrong and how to work through that. So, and how to find a way through that. And that's really what Venus is about, right? Venus is about relationships. It could also have to do with like girls in your life, women in your life, or feminine expressing people in your life. And Venus very much is about relationships of all sorts. So any kind of relationship or anything that has to do with values and money, that's what you need to be paying attention to right now, and really paying attention to like power and control and how that's working in your life. And if there's any kind of shadow or anything like that that you need to look at yourself or others, um, and be aware of that, and just take this time to really listen in so that you can make the best moves for you and the others that you're in relationship. I know how important family and things like that are to you, Cancer. So just listen deeply, especially Monday, Tuesday, especially noticing today and tomorrow what's going on, and then be open for the eclipse and great reveals happening like Monday of next week and on September the 7th. All right. And going forward now, this is for Leo. Leo, um, this is the horoscope for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Leo, this has everything to do with self love. This has everything to do with, do you love yourself? What does your self care look like? What does your identity look like? How do you love yourself? And are you letting other people, relationships with other people, control or dictate how you love yourself? So, Leo, pay attention to how you love yourself, pay attention to how it feels. Make sure that you're also handling your money with as much integrity as possible, especially with it being in opposition to Pluto at this time. I feel like while there's a lot of blessings and really strong placements, there's also a little bit of push and pull maybe with relationships. And you just got to choose you, Leo. Just choose you. Okay. It's okay to choose you. You are not being an arrogant jerk at this time, but please give yourself some self love. Please do something for yourself at this time as Venus comes into your sign. It's just speaking to you and speaking to the way you take care of yourself. All right. Now, as we move into Virgo, this is for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Virgo, this has everything to do. This has everything to do with the unseen, Virgo. What don't you see? And maybe even self sabotage. What's happening for you? Okay. And notice that it may also have a little to do with like people that have control over you or influence over you. Make sure you're paying attention to that, especially in relation to children, romantic partners, or creative outlets or creative things that you've created. Maybe there's a push and pull. Maybe it has something to do with your relationships directly. So just be paying attention to this, uh Virgo, as we're going forward, especially with the yod being on your sun. I would be paying attention to your life's path and to how you express yourself intensely. And as we move into Virgo season, as we get deeper and deeper into Virgo season, you're going into your solar returns if you're a Virgo sun. So just just be aware that there could be some things that are unseen that need to come up to the surface, and you just need to be open to receiving those messages. Just stay open, Virgo, stay open, especially since the new moon just happened. I'm sure you felt it over the weekend. Just Thursday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the over the weekend, you probably felt it, Virgo. So just be aware of that, and then just try to navigate through whatever happened, and just be aware that there's sort of a slow reveal happening for you. And I think it'll be in a really good way. And the universe is trying to hold you in blessings, but it could be about some pretty intense business, sure, because the South Node is there, and the South Node has a lot to do with your past or what you've dealt with in the past. Okay, so that's for Virgo. The next horoscope is for Libra. This is for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Libra, let me just say that as Venus enters Leo today on Monday, this is going to have something to do with your career. What's going on at work? Is there something happening about money or integrity or relationship at work, particularly about maybe you're feeling a real pull at home as well. Like maybe you're feeling kind of torn with your time and energy. I know it could be a lot, Libra. And as we go forward, just be aware that with Venus up in Leo and opposite Pluto, it's just a push and pull in a really rough way, and or in a really, it could be in a little bit hard way in that way, but the universe is holding you. Okay, the universe is trying to bring blessings to you, particularly since Venus is your ruling planet there, Libra. It's trying to speak to you. It's trying to say, hey, do this, do that. There are messages coming your way. Make sure you listen to them, Libra. Make sure you try to implement the things that you know need to be changed. Try to make the changes that you know are important. Okay? All right. And as we're going forward, this horoscope is for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Scorpio, this has a lot to do with like spiritual awakenings, what you put out in the world, what you bring to the world. Venus is coming in there to bless you, to help bring messages to you, especially in relation to your community and to those surrounding you and those that you deal with on a day to day, like your neighbors and your siblings. And even your community and anyone like that. And be aware that as Venus moves into Leo for you, Scorpio, that this could also have a little to do with your job. It's going to be at the top of the sky for you, so it could definitely influence not just spiritual awakenings, but also like something to do with your work or your work in the world. Maybe there's some blessings coming your way. Venus is trying to bless you up. Just be aware that it is in opposition to Pluto down there in the third, down there in Aquarius, which is like probably in the third, fourth house for you if you're a Scorpio rising. So that'll have a lot to do with siblings or your home or your neighbors or something like that. So there just could be a little bit of a push pull in relationship in that way. So just hold on and listen to the messages. Remember, the universe is holding you in blessings. So stay open and be ready for the great reveal, and stay open-minded, Scorpio. Don't close yourself off to other solutions. Even if you think you have the solution now, you may not. Okay. And going forward, this is Sagittarius. Sun, Moon, and Rising. Sagittarius, this has a lot to do with your shadow, with the other people's money, with particularly with money and your money and other people's money, and it could definitely pull on that department and the shadow of you, the things that are hidden or things that you don't like to talk about, things that are hard to talk about, including things like death or sex, things that are a little bit more difficult to talk about. Sagittarius, you might be struggling with those a little bit on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but just know that the universe is trying to hold you in a blessing, and there is some messages coming your way, and Venus is trying to put you on the right path. So just stay open to the messages, like I'm saying for everyone else. It's a slow reveal. So just be open to any scenarios that could happen. Just try to have an open mind the best you can. And I know, Sagittarius, that's one of your biggest strengths. So I'm asking you to be yourself. Okay, Sagittarius. So stay open. Be ready to hear whatever might come your way, especially as things are revealed in the coming days, in the coming weeks, with this September the 1st, when Saturn moves away, and then the eclipse on September the 7th. Okay. And as we're going forward, all right, as we go forward, we're going to be doing Capricorn. Capricorn, this is your Capricorn, this for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Capricorn, this has everything to do with your relationships with others, particularly any women or feminine expressing people in your life. This would have a lot to do with them, and with Venus in your house of relationships, this is going to push you to maybe have some experiences about power and control. So, wake up, Capricorn, listen to the messages Venus is trying to tell you. Venus is pushing on you, trying to help you. You will be held in that awareness as you become more and more aware of exactly what's going on. You will become, more comfortable with those things, and there will be a great reveal in the coming weeks. So just hold on to it, Capricorn. Listen to what the universe is sending you. Stay open. Try not to get too bullheaded in whatever you believe. Try not to push too hard up the hill, and just stay present in what you got for us now. Now, this is for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Aquarius, um, this has everything to do with your day-to-day life. This has everything to do with how things are affecting you. Okay. This has everything to do with what you've been dealing with, and maybe even some relationships. Maybe there's even a little bit of that going on. But it has a lot to do with your day-to-day life and your identity, and how much power and control you have over your life. Pluto has been speaking to you for quite some time. It's been in your sign, and now it's in an opposition to Venus, and it's really trying to speak to who you are, and and your day-to-day life. And is this what you want? Is this the kind of day-to-day life you want to live? And is this what you want to experience? And with that North Node in Pisces, with that Yod pointing to the North Node in Pisces, just be aware that you're on your destiny, and you may not see it because your sign is right next to Pisces. So sometimes we don't see things that are in the very next sign. So just hang in there, Aquarius. This will have a lot to do with your day-to-day life, or your job, or your work, and it could absolutely to do with your health, Aquarius. Okay. And now this is for the horoscope for Pisces. This is for Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Pisces, this will have everything to do also with your day-to-day life, and how you are navigating this, your work in the world, and how, and also your health, probably, and also your experience with others. Okay. Especially, mostly just because Venus is involved, and Venus has a lot to do with our relationships with others. So I feel like for you, Pisces, this will have a lot to do maybe with the way you behave with others, maybe also with the way you're feeling about, especially with tomorrow having that Yod pointing at the pointing at the North Node in your sign. So whatever destiny, whatever sort of thing you've been headed on to, Pisces, about your personal identity and how you feel and see yourself, or your health or your vitality, pulling from that Libra moon and pulling from the Mercury in the 6th house. I feel like this is your opportunity to talk it out with someone. So take that moment to talk it out with the doctor, listen to a nurse, talk to a nurse, take the opportunities to talk to anyone about what's coming up for you. I think that, or somebody at work or something in your day-to-day life, someone you deal with on a day-to-day basis, you might just want to sort of take that moment to really have a conversation so that you can reveal exactly what's going on there, and allow things to be revealed. And as Saturn comes back into your sign next week on Monday, be aware that could deliver some information or a change or something you've been waiting for, or something you've been trying to change, or some sort of awareness, or it's going to tie up whatever it's been dealing with for a few years now. There could be something in relation to that, particularly with the system or your own system, particularly with anything karmic or anything like that you're dealing with right now. It could be a little intense for you, Pisces, but I feel like you got this, and the universe is holding you in as much blessing and gentleness as it possibly can. All right.
Wow, that's amazing. You're incredible. And people agree. And now I know you're going to do an amazing thing with the tarot. See what the cards have to say in relationship to the sky. It's always amazing how there's a complimentary message in there that always seems to point to the theme of the week. What do the cards have to say, Hollis?
Okay, so now we're going to do a little card reading. And we'll all right. So Hannah, I'm sorry that you're dealing with that. Just know that it's all destined right now. So if you're going through something, just know it's destined, and recognize that it's not punishing you. The universe is trying to get you on path. And sometimes I always tell people in a reading, when things look like they're difficult in this right here and now, recognize that sometimes, especially with Uranus doing its movement, I'm just going to say sometimes the table is cleared off so a different game can be played. So, like I was telling a client recently that, well, maybe this has to happen so that the person of your dreams can come into your life. Maybe this has to happen so that you can get on your path. Maybe this has to happen so that you can feel better. Maybe this has to happen so that your home can be more harmonious. Okay? So stay open. Stay open. Brianna, today is your daughter's 13th birthday. Well, happy birthday to her. All right. So I'm going to pull 3 cards here for the whole community for this week. And this is for this week's reveal. And so first of all, this is the 2 of Pentacles. This is a reminder of how you have support in your life and what kind of resources you have. And remember the resources that you have and how you've juggled them so far and how you've worked with them. This is about how juggling resources and things like that can sometimes be the best thing you can do in a situation. I think we've all had that experience, not just with money, but with other things as well, dealing with people and all of that kind of thing. Any kind of resources. This isn't just about money. This could be about certain people in your lives or other sort of resources that could be important to you. Okay. And as we're going forward in this week, remember that influences the here and now. And this right here is the Emperor. This is very much telling you to take a look at power and control in your life. Remember what I was saying with Venus opposite Pluto? This Emperor is really speaking to that. It's really speaking to who's in power, who's in control. I find it interesting that this Emperor has the sort of Capricorn sort of symbol up on the edge of the chair there, you can see. And you can see that they have, a sword in one hand, and she has this other wand-like thing in the other hand, which is like about taking action based on intuition and thoughts. And then, of course, this person is um, also has the rainbow on their shoulder, which is to just show that they're very much in power. And this is very much the Emperor card. So this has a lot to do with, power and control. And that even means like you have the power to put yourself first. You have the power to speak up for yourself. Because Leo is about being powerful. Leo is about the power of who you are. And that's really what this is. This is about speaking to that power. Speak to the power of who you are and walk forward this week with Venus and Leo, knowing where that power lies and using your power in a good way, because that's Leo is going to use its power in a good way, in a positive way. Okay. And that's really the Emperor card. And as we go on later this week, this is the Page of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, my fault, Ace of Pentacles. And the Ace of Pentacles is a really great thing. This means the resources you need will be there. The things that you need are available. Just all you have to do is reach for them. That's exactly what this card is allow. Allow the blessings to come to you. Allow people to help you. Allow people to sit and talk something out with you. Allow people to, have their input. Like I said, Virgo loves to talk things out, and that's really what this week is about. And with this Ace of Pentacles, this is really going to put us in a good place at the end of the week. Like I said, the universe is holding you in great aspects, great conversations. And with this Two of Pentacles, this means you got the resources in your life. You got the resources. And even though you've had to juggle them in the past, and just be aware that they're there for you. They're there to support you. Sorry, support you. And then be aware of where the power and control lies. Are you in the power seat? Are you in control of your life? Are you taking control of what needs to be handled? Take power and control. And take control of what needs to be done. Do what you need to do. Going forward, be aware that all you have to do is step forward and that power is in your hands. The resources are available to you. All it's going to take is a little bit of reaching. Just don't push it away. Don't pretend it's not there. Don't dismiss it, because in that is how you miss the message. Got my own tongue twister.
Wow, that was amazing. And again, just how the tarot reflects the stars and the astrology, those themes, they're just spot on with what's coming in the eclipses. So I hope all that information helps you a lot. Thank you, Brianna. I'm so glad that Monday Lives help you. Put yourself first. Yes, put yourself first. We hope you have a great week, and and thanks so much for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Take care, everybody. Much love. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for spending time with us this week. We hope you're feeling more connected to the cosmic energies in your life and what works for you. We send you lots of love on your journey. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps reach more people who could use some cosmic guidance. Hey, and don't forget to share this episode with anyone who might need or want to hear it. And we love hearing from you, so drop us a comment and let us know what resonated most for you, or if you'd like to hear something new next week. Your questions and feedback make us better. Want to join us live? Subscribe! Catch us on Facebook and YouTube. And that's where you can ask real-time questions and be part of the Rainbow Soulstrology community while it happens. Until next week, trust your intuition, follow your inner wisdom, and remember, the stars are always supporting your journey. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.